Hi folks, the purpose of this brief mini lecture is to orient you to the academic research paper topic proposal and also to show you a model of what one of these looks like. Now this assignment is actually fairly simple. As you know, over the last several classes we've been discussing social justice and looking at different ideas of what social justice is and talked about different definitions. We've also discussed oppression, exploitation, equality, inequality, all of which are related, of course, to social justice. And we've also began looking at, in a general way, maybe what some topics might be for a research paper. And what I've asked you to do is to develop some questions that you have around a topic. Now what we'll do is commit to a particular question that you want to answer in a particular topic. So we'll do this formally in the academic research paper topic proposal. Essentially, what you want to do is take a look at the instructions that I have here online for you and look at those very carefully. But before I go into the specifics about the proposal itself, let me just remind you, if you look here, for instance, you'll have the contact information for your own personal librarian, Dr. Richard Moniz, in the library. We'll also be visiting him next week, so you'll get a chance to meet him in person, and he's going to explain to you how to use the library's databases to find the formal academic research that you need to write the research paper. At this point, all we've done is take a look at websites, look at Google Scholar, things like that from the World Wide Web, so that you can get a general idea of what you might want to do for a topic. So now we're going to have to commit. So to write this proposal, essentially what you're going to do is write 5 paragraphs. It's fairly simple, and those paragraphs are outlined right here for you near the bottom of the instructions. Each of these represents a paragraph. In your first paragraph, what you're going to do is you're going to introduce the issue and then present it in question form. Now what I mean by present your issue in question form is just to provide your research question. So your research question should probably come at the end of that opening paragraph. And what I mean by introduce the issue is give us some background info, like explain what makes this a social justice issue, where is the inequity or the inequality with this particular question that you're asking. You know, is there oppression involved? Is there exploitation involved? If so, in what ways and which individuals or individual groups are involved? Explain those things to us. Just sort of give us very briefly the who, what, why, when, where, and how in a very brief way. And you're going to give us all that in the opening paragraph just to introduce us to your topic. And then in the last sentence of your opening paragraph, then pose the question that you want answered about this particular topic. And again, that's going to be the research question that you've developed. In the second paragraph, and this is very, very simple, all you need to do is explain why this topic is interesting and compelling to you. Now, obviously, if you get to this point and you think, well, you know, this really isn't a topic that I'm that interested in, and I'm really not that compelled to read about it or write about it, then probably what you're going to want to do is start over and find another topic and form another question that you'd like to have answered and write a proposal about that one. Just like we've been discussing, you know, over the last week or so, probably the most important step in the research process is choosing the topic itself, because you want to choose a topic that matters to you. You want to choose something that interests you. You want to choose something preferably that you feel passionate about and you want to learn about. If you do that, then writing the research paper isn't going to be that difficult for you, because it's actually going to be an enjoyable process if you care about the topic itself. So just to recap briefly, first paragraph, introduce your issue, give us the background info, the who, what, why, when, where, what makes it an issue of social justice, what is the inequality or the inequity, where is an exploitation or an oppression by a particular group, and then ultimately at the end of that paragraph, give us your research question that you've formally written out for us. And then in the second paragraph, just explain why it's interesting or compelling to you. Then in your third paragraph, you're going to describe what you already know about this topic. This is probably going to be limited to the things that you've learned just by doing the general Google searches on the web and maybe looking at Google Scholar and some websites, and that's okay. Just explain what you already know about it. Then in your next paragraph, explain what more you need to learn. That's your fourth paragraph. So in the fourth paragraph, explain what more you think you need to learn. Now remember, the essential goal of this paper is to explain causes and effects. So for instance, if you're writing about the pay inequities between males and females in American corporations, then what you want to think about there is, what caused that and what are the possible effects of that, and then think about what specific types of sources you would need to use in your paper to explain the who, what, why, when, and where, and how about your topic. In the fifth paragraph, you need to explain where you plan to find your information. And just remember here, I've sort of already explained this to you. You cannot use the World Wide Web at all. You have to use libraries and libraries databases. And if you go back to the first video where I introduced the research paper, I listed some specific databases that you can use there. So, just in that last paragraph, tell me where you think you're going to find your information, what type of sources you want to use, that type of thing. So again, this is a fairly simple assignment. It does need to be in MLA format. It does need to be typed, double-spaced, and in Times New Roman font. This completed proposal will be submitted to Blackboard. And let me just show you really quickly a model topic proposal. Essentially, what we have here is 5 paragraphs, just like I asked you to do. This particular individual is writing about environmental factors that may have led to the decline of the burrowing owl, and that's the question that they wanted to answer in their research. And you'll notice that they presented that question near the end of their first paragraph, and then in the earlier parts of the paragraph they gave us a little bit of background info to let us know, why this is a particular issue, an important issue. They explained why this interests them in the second paragraph, right? Then in the third paragraph, they explain what they know about the topic. Then in the fourth paragraph, they explain what information they think they need to find. Then in the fifth paragraph, they explained where they plan to find their information, and they also listed some specific databases and places that they thought they could find their information. And essentially you need to do the same thing. So I think this is a pretty simple assignment, but if you have any questions or any concerns, or you still need help focusing your research question, obviously shoot me an email or get in touch with me some other way, Facebook, Twitter, Johnson Wells email, whatever. But be sure that you ask a question if you have one.